This is The Great Outdoors with Jason White, exploring the great outdoors in Pennsylvania and beyond. Brought to you by the Mariana Outdoorsmen Association and by Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. Now, The Great Outdoors with Jason White.
Good morning. It's Todd Miner filling in for Jason White this morning. I have a couple special guests here this morning. I have Haley Bill here with me beside me. She's the new president of the FFA, also local 4-H member. She's going to be joining us here this morning. On the phone, we have Chris Hoffman. He's president of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, and we have Mitchell Keurig. I hope I said that last name right, Mitchell. And I thank you all for being here this morning. We've got a lot of topics we're going to discuss with the Farm Bureau, upcoming Fayette County Fair. Haley's running for Fayette County Fair Queen, and she also did some projects here this summer, along with Chris Hoffman with a pig, and it's got a lot of interesting things to discuss here with agriculture. There's a lot of things going on, and a lot of good things. So good morning, everyone.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
So whoever wants to start, we can go ahead and get started. I thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Haley, thank you for your time. Whoever wants to just go ahead and get started here, we can jump right into things. I know we got a lot of things working with the Farm Bureau on the state level, and it trickles down to the counties and the local levels here, and we thank you very much for that. So Chris or Mitchell, whoever wants to go ahead and get started.
Well, I can start it. Thank you, Todd, for the opportunity of being on the show today, and all the work you do within the farm bureaus and the counties, and at your leadership level. And it's good to hear you have youth in with you with Haley. It's always exciting to see the next generation of agriculture coming on, and so it's exciting times. The way I look at it, I look at everything as trying to look at the glass half full versus half empty. So a lot of opportunities as we think about where we're going, and in government, we have to expect the unexpected. And if you've been watching, a lot of things have been changing and happening as time's going. But we've been working pretty hard at the state level to try to get a bunch of things completed. And as our policies are set at Hershey every November, right? We work on trying to make sure that we're meeting those goals and those things that are really most important to our county leadership. And so whether it's wildlife and hunting, whether it's milk, overorder premiums, whether it's federal issues as a farm bill, labor, H2A, like just tons of stuff that we're working on, and we're seeing movement. We're seeing movement in the game laws and crop damage, and we're seeing movement on H2A and locking down some of those costs. And I'm not sure where the farm bill is. That seems to be a political football right now, but just some good things happening, and we'll be glad to discuss those things in more detail. So thanks again for the opportunity of being here and being a part of this show this week.
Well, thank you, and that's for sure. We've had a lot of progress, I feel, at the Farm Bureau, and I think it's just because everybody's working together. We all have a common goal, and that's just to make progress and get things done. And I mean, especially on the sportsman side, a few years ago, sportsman and Farm Bureau was not a topic that could be together, and they've come together now. The sportsmen are not against Farm Bureau now, and Farm Bureau are working with the sportsmen now, and they always should have been together. I mean, most farmers hunt, and most farms need control with the deer, the different things, and I mean, it all goes hand in hand, and I'm so glad to see it come together. I've always hunted myself, but I've always been a huge advocate for farming, and I mean, we need things to work together, and I can't say how proud I am to see everybody working together for that common goal. It's always going to be difference of opinions and everything, but I mean, it is so great to see everything coming together finally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And when you think about where we're heading in the future, and it really does require us to kind of think global versus individual. And when you start used to hear all this thing as farmers would be like, hey, we gotta control the deer. And to a sportsman, that was eliminate them, right? And that's not really the kind of the narrative that we have going on today. Is we need to have better management, right? We need to have better management of deer. We need to have better management of bear, all the way down to raccoons, groundhogs, like you name it. Like, it's just not deer. It's all the wildlife, and working with the Game Commission to come up with programs, come up with things that will make it that we have the tools, right? It's all about the tools to the farmer, the tools to the hunter. How do we connect hunters and farmers? How do we look at hot spots? How do we deal with the hot spots? So, like, you cannot look at a complete, game management area. Not every part of that. It's kind of like in farming, right? North of 80 is definitely a lot different than Lancaster County, right? So we can't treat them the same. And so it's just getting that data, understanding the items that we need to be able to do a better job of making sure that we're addressing the needs of the farmer, and also giving the opportunity to the sportsmen's, right, to be able to continue hunting and being a part of a complete system versus having people at odds. So I'm excited about the new legislation that was passed, and waiting for the Senate to get their side of it in there to see exactly what the language finally looks like, and how we can move this forward, because ultimately it's beneficial for the farmer. It helps with the crop damage issues that we have, as well as gives the opportunity for hunters to connect to the farmers and really be able to make opportunity as we move forward.
Absolutely. If we could maybe jump into the one topic, I spoke to Mitchell about this a little bit. It's been kind of a controversial one, and I know it hit me kind of back here a little bit. I actually got several calls about it. It's with the dog laws. Retrieving dogs specifically was one of the things that was brought up, and I'm an ex-coon hunter, and I don't get to do it like I used to, and loved it. But retrieving them on posted property and stuff, I mean, dogs cannot read signs, unfortunately, and they do cross lines, and it is something that can become a little bit of an issue. And I know there was an article come out in Lancaster Farming that caused a little bit of a conversation with some things. And if we could discuss that a little bit, Mitchell, if you'd like to take that. I know we discussed it a little bit the other day. If you want to take that
absolutely. Yep, so that's a great point. We are seeing some disputes from both sides of the discussion. So, of course, hunters especially want to protect their property, which is their hunting dog. But on the same side, we need to look at the farmer's rights to private property. Previously, there were some loopholes that allowed hunters to essentially go onto farming private property and retrieve their dog without any warning to the farmer themselves. So what this new legislation would do to essentially become a compromise for both of these parties would force the hunter to make an attempt to contact that farmer before entering the property. And also it adds some exemptions to the fact that posted land for biosecure land and fenced farms, they would have to essentially make sure that the farmer is aware that they are on the land. So in many regards, this new legislation is making the trespassing laws much more strict and private property friendly, while also giving the hunter the opportunity to retrieve their property rightfully.
And I mean, that's, everybody wants to have their privacy, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing to have privacy and everything. It is a tough one, and I don't think we're ever going to make everybody happy with this one, no matter which way we go with it. I mean, there's always going to be a debate, and it's going to go back and forth. But I mean, I think we need to just try to use some common sense, which That's a bad word anymore. It seems like common sense is not utilized enough anymore. Wish it was used more, but I think we're trying to use common sense with this, and it does need to happen, and we just got to try to make the majority happy, and the majority good for both sides, the landowner, the sportsman, the hunters. I mean, everybody. It just we just got to keep working at it, and the trespass laws do need to be enforced. That way, there'll be more hunting opportunities for people. That's one of the reasons why people don't want to let people on their property. I mean, we could face those facts. I mean, that's why people post their property, because a lot of times they're not respected and different things. I mean, I've talked to different farmers, like, you want deer control, but you don't want to let people hunt on your property, and they tell horror stories on how some people disrespect their land and that, and this could help things, not just with the dogs, but with other things. I got off topic here a little bit, but the trespass laws themselves, being revamped will help things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree with that. I would say that, to your point, that this solving the current crop damage issue that is being caused specifically by deer requires both the hunting community and agriculture community to work together. So having a compromise in regard to something that concerns both sides with the dog law and trespassing laws is a great step forward. And I think it shows a lot of diplomacy in some ways between these two groups coming together. And I think it's a great step in the right direction toward helping mitigate some of the problems we are seeing with the crop damage across the state.
Absolutely. We got to keep working to control the animals and not just eliminate them. We need that nice balance, for sure. And, that's we're actually setting a meeting up. Jason and Andy Bader are actually working with the Southwest leaders now. Bud Cook's going to host an event with the Southwest politicians and try to get some habitat reform done to the game lands, different things done, and trying to get more deer away from the farmlands onto the game lands and make more opportunities for the sportsmen and just keep things moving in the right directions. That way, and just there's some other things on their agenda too. But some of the proposed things, that's been worked on, I know they're working on way more than that. But that was just some of the things I know that was talked about. I was on the phone with Bud Cook's office this morning, and that was some of the things that were discussed. They're trying to get that done for the end of August. But that's what it's going to keep taking. Keep meeting with the legislators, keep working on these things, get these things pushed across the finish line, and the Farm Bureau is definitely leading the way with that, and it's such a great thing.
Yeah, Todd, I would say that's one of our biggest, is what I have been trying to accomplish. I think one of our biggest focuses right now is building those relationships, right? Being able to have those conversations. They're not always easy, right? Can't always have an easy conversation when you got such emotion running and you got, but you got to get to the root of the problem. You got to get to the place where you can bring people to the table, and not only in the game side, but we're even talking about on the environmental side, on the labor side, right? There's these issues are very, very emotional issues a lot of times that we deal with, but it's about having those conversations, building those relationships that be able to get us to that next level. And I believe that's where we've been able to get. You look 2 years ago, it was very divisive between Farm Bureau, farmers, and the Sportsmen's Association. But I believe today we've been able to bring a little bit more of a cohesion group together where, listen, we're not all gonna get what we want, right? But we need to make sure that we're in a conversation where we can actually solve problems versus just kind of yelling at each other. And at the end of the day, that doesn't get us anywhere.
Absolutely, and hard conversations are what makes solutions at the end a lot of times. I mean, people got to be able to talk. They can be emotional, and trust me, farmers and sportsmen are some of the most emotional, compassionate people you'll ever meet. They care. They give a crap. Let's just put it bluntly and crudely, but they care. And I mean, and sometimes their emotions run a little hotter than they should, but that's okay. At the end of the day, if they can come up to a compromise for the greater good, That's what matters. And then you get the legislators in the room together with everybody and come to that finish line. That's what matters.
Absolutely, and I would say that the legislature has been very responsive and open to these changes, and it's an issue. Overpopulation of deer across Pennsylvania is an issue that affects not only farmers, but suburban communities as well. I mean, Pennsylvania is ranked third currently in auto-related accidents caused by deer. So this is something that everybody needs to get on board with, and compromise will be necessary among all parties to achieve the goals that we've set out.
So it makes it an easy bipartisan, issue, and that's not always the case. I mean, and agriculture is a bipartisan issue. I mean, all the time, and that's the way it should be. Everybody needs to eat. We all need farming. We all need agriculture, and that's why it's a purple issue. And it's not a Republican Democrat issue. It's a people issue, and it's we need these things fixed. We need to keep working on them. We need to work together, for sure. And just like having this young lady sit here beside us, she could be doing a million other things today. She's sitting on a radio show here talking about agriculture and these things. We need to keep these kids involved, and I don't want to say it to a young lady too lightly, calling her a kid, but it's the truth. We got to keep them involved also. And it's just a great thing there also. And just got to keep people engaged, keep them interested also, and show them that we're making progress.
I totally agree with you, Todd, and I know that Haley has really been engaged and involved. I got to see her at the FFA convention, and she has done something really great in your county. I told you I was going to bring up pigs, right? As a pig farmer, right? But she has done something great with a pig that she's raised, and I think the listeners would enjoy hearing a little bit about her success and how she did some things for veterans in the community.
So Haley, there's the mic for you. There's your introduction.
Well, hi Chris. Nice to talk to you again. It's been a minute. But I just wanted to thank you again. I've been meaning to reach out, and I got some pictures from the veteran breakfast. But I want to thank you again for just your donation, and obviously none of that could have been possible without you. So we appreciate you for that.
Tell us about from start to end of that project, please.
So in November of 2023, I had applied for a national FFA grant for $1,000 through the National FFA organization. Kind of thinking, this is national level. I've had state grants and things, but this is a big deal, and some small town girl, they're not really going to look at me twice, and this is a long shot. Well, in December, it comes back, and I got the grant. So it was written that if I got this grant and I would raise a hog and donate it to some worthy cause, not disclosing what that would be yet, I wasn't sure. But the grant came back and I got it. So one of 6 kids in Pennsylvania, there was like 500,000 applications nationally for this grant. So it came back and I got it, and of course I was shocked and super excited and just stunned, really, to say the least. So then you kind of come across the issue, where am I going to get a pig for this? We still don't really know what we're going to donate it to, but I know I need a pig either way. So then I was kind of telling Todd about it, and he stepped up and was like, oh, well, I have this connection to Chris Hoffman. He's the president of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau. And I was like, wow, he's pretty much famous. That's crazy. He doesn't know me. So Todd makes the connection, and Chris said he'll donate me a feeder hog from the Lazy Hog Farm, which, to say the least, they're very impressive hogs. Even at the slaughterhouse, they couldn't get over how big he was. He was pushing 400 pounds live weight. They just couldn't believe what an impressive hog it was, and I credit that to Chris's genetics up at Lazy Hog Farm. So Chris agrees to donate me a hog, and Todd agrees to go up and get it for me. And so he goes up north and brings his hog back down to the Fayette County Tech School, and we kept him there for a few days. So from there, I was kind of thinking about it and decided to host a free veteran appreciation breakfast, because what better way to give back to the community? I feel that veterans, need more respect, and they just deserve the thank you. So if I could do that at least for them, it's something direct to my family. I have some military personnel in my family too, with the farming background and everything. So it kind of just was direct, and it felt right to do that. So we went ahead and started planning that. In this time of planning, I'm raising that hog for 5 months. Best experience I've ever had. I say that I've loved agriculture for about 5 years now and kind of been into it and working towards just a bigger success with agriculture. But this really, I think, just sparked the livestock side and made me realize, the production side is where I love to be, whether that's from broiler chickens to a 400-pound hog. I enjoy it, and it never felt like work to me. So raising this hog for 5 months, best experience I've ever had, hands down. He was my best friend. His name was Wilbur. I try not to talk about that too much because it makes me sad that he's gone. But I loved Wilbur, spent a whole lot of time together, learned a lot along the way, just a learning curve from having that livestock there, and all your vet med and everything else, feeding. Todd has been a great help with that. I kind of went into this not knowing too much about hogs, I've never done one, so Todd was a great help with that. But decided the Veteran Appreciation Breakfast was right, went ahead with that, raised the hog, got him slaughtered, and then we ended up with 262 pounds of breakfast sausage for veterans in Fayette County. So Brian Benson also had decided to step up and help sponsor this event too. He was going to have one in Appreciation Breakfast in August.
Who's Brian?
Brian Benson is Director of Fayette County Veteran Affairs. Really great guy. Kind of met him through Todd and at some events that I was at for veterans and just different things. Really great guy. He hosts the Veteran Expo out at the AMVETS in Hopwood Post 103. This is where we held it also. Great people out there, Stan Angel and everybody. So we appreciate them. But he stepped up and kind of helped with this and helped with the planning and everything and just kind of stood behind us with this. So we kind of conjoined our events together but kept the idea of it the same. So it was more than a success. We had about 150 veterans come out, just that we had signed, so possibly more coming in. It was a great turnout. Everybody enjoyed it. We had a whole display of breakfast foods for them, and we had some veteran speeches, and I talked a little bit and kind of gave them my story and where Wilbur came from that was on their plate. But it was a really great turnout. I think everybody had a nice time, and I couldn't have asked for better success with that.
And Chris, she's getting to see both sides of things. When I say both sides, Haley's also a 4-H member, so she's a crossover. It's something kind of new to our county. She's in the FFA program. I'm on the advisory board out there, but she's in 4-H, so she can show at our county fair. So she's raising a different type of hog also. She has a show pig, which she sees that they are more of a diva type of a hog at her house, and that hog is giving her quite a bit of a challenge at times, because she's brushing its hair, she's grooming it, and she gets to hear me complain to her all the time, skin and hair is important, we're managing a weight more than we're just trying to put weight on it to get it to the table, which a total different thing.
For sure.
I talked to her about, bone size, which, you want bigger bone in a show pig than you do a commercial hog, because that just takes up that just fills up, the dog food part of the thing for a commercial hog. This is the different things. But it was nice that she got to see that with her first project. She had them raising side by side, and she got to see the two ends of it. But these two hogs were raised side by side. Your hog from your place grew twice as fast as what this show hog did, and she'll be at the county fair next week with her show pig, which is turning out to be a very nice hog also. But we're weighing this thing every couple days. I'm driving her nuts with feed, changing feed constantly, adding this, taking this out, manipulating feeds, walking it, a couple times a day, just doing all the different things that's there. But, how I feel it changes the youth and gives them responsibility, and she's getting both ends of that. She's done the commercial part of it, now she's doing the show part of it, but she's still learning the responsibility and all the aspects, and she's bridging that gap for our county, which I think is so important for our county with the 4-H and FFA. She's getting that stigma over, because our fair was a little bit closed-minded to that, and I'm not talking down on them to that, but there hadn't been many FFA kids in our fair, because there wasn't a program really that brought that to the table. Now that the teacher, Miss Reed, is really getting the kids involved, getting this program going, and I thank you, Chris, for coming in and helping support that program. And
For sure.
These kids are doing a great job. Haley's the new president of the FFA, and I mean, she's a young rock star that is pushing forward these things, and I don't know. That's our future, Chris. You and I talk about that all the time. Without the youth, what will we have? It's she's going to be the future to take over whenever you step down and you from years and you want to retire and sit back and watch your farm going on, I mean, it's going to be people like her that's going to be taking over our ag community, and we need those things to continue pushing these legislations forward, pushing the agendas forward that we need to keep our ag community going. What are we going to have? We need the young people like Haley doing that. And if we don't educate them and push them and give them something to see, we'll have nothing. And I think it's just a joint effort, and just got to keep on doing what we're doing.
Well, it's the whole driving part of where I come from. Is I'm a first generation farmer, and so having that next generation coming forward, right? Having the Haleys of the world, right, is what is our future. It's food security, not only for our county and our state, but the nation, the world, right? So it's what Farm Bureau is all about. It's about creating that pathway to making sure that we have the vision to make sure that these young folks can actually have a way into the future. And Haley's just a great representative of our young folks today who are involved in agriculture and are learning. And the best way to learn is hands-on, right?
Yes.
I believe that it's also part of this can be part of some of our fixes to the unrest in the world, right? People need to be more engaged and involved in how their food's raised, and get their mind on something that's very productive versus maybe something that's less meaningful. And so to me, this is great. I'm so proud of Haley, and I know her pig will probably do really, really well.
So.
And I'm excited to hear all the great things that I know she's going to do great things. And so it's an honor to be a part of that, and taking care of the veterans. We don't do enough of that, right? So it's just kudos to you, Haley, for everything you've done. And
thank you.
And really do appreciate and just love the opportunity to partner with you in this program. So
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And Chris, it's something that you and I've talked about too, is getting the show industry more in tune with the Farm Bureau. A lot of times, and I'm not going to say it's been something that the Farm Bureau's overlooked, but I think we need to realize that is part of our farming world, because that's how we going to have to get our youth involved. Get this, because that is part of ag. Get the show kids going. I mean, that was how we had our first conversation was several years ago when the swine flu broke, and it was an issue with showing pigs, I believe it was a farm show. And you and I talked about it, and I got you in touch with a couple hog farmers back here, and it was for the kids selling it or showing at farm show and that, and you were very instrumental in helping with that. And we need more members to have more voices. It's so important, because we got to have numbers matter, and we got to keep our voices strong, and we got to keep advocating for agriculture every day. And from the biggest farm to the smallest farm, they all matter. From the backyard farmers to urban farmers to everybody. I mean, we just have to keep advocating, and they all matter, and that's it's so important, and it's just.
So, and I also look at, just what Haley's done here, right? And now her story, her voice, right, is so important to get that out there, because it's a connection to the community. 4-H, FFA, right? We need advocates to talk about how food is raised in this country. And I just talked to somebody the other day that they lived in New York City and came to Penn State. And so they got to Penn State at the age of 19, 20. They didn't actually know where milk came from. Knew milk was milk, right?
Right.
Didn't know it came from a cow, right? It was a beverage that they thought they drank.
Came from
and
store.
So it's hard to think, okay, how can someone not know that, right? But you live where you live, right? You're in those communities where you don't have access to that. You don't see those things. There's people who have never seen a livestock for real, right? They've seen it in pictures, they may see it in books, but they haven't actually been able to touch a pig and pet a cow or those types of things, right? We take that for granted on the farm side of it. Generations removed from agriculture is so vast that we've lost touch, and so we have to do a better job of reconnecting our communities back into where agriculture is and what it is that we have to convey to them, because that message is too important. It's being lost. And when it comes down to food security, people don't even know how food actually happens to show up in their grocery store. So Haley's a great example and a great conductor to actually, be able to tell that story. And we need them to do that day in, day out, because it sure helps with our mission.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think she's a great advocate for it, and others like her, and I mean, that's Haley, what else are you doing tomorrow at the fair? Tomorrow's the kickoff for our county fair, by the way. I got to give a little plug out to our fair, because I think we have one of the best ones in the state, and I've been fortunate enough to judge a lot of shows across the state and see a lot of fairs, and I'm still very proud of our little fair, and it's pretty darn good, especially on the livestock end, but even the carnival end's pretty darn awesome. But what are you doing tomorrow at the fair?
Tomorrow, the best day of the year. The opening ceremonies of the fair, but all day tomorrow I have interviews. I'm running for Fayette County Fair Queen, so that's super exciting, and that's a new way, I think, to advocate, for the community and women in ag and youth in ag. So I'm just super excited for that opportunity, and win or lose, it's been a great experience so far, so we're hoping for a good outcome with that, but super great time with everybody, all my running mates and everything, great girls, just an awesome opportunity.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
For that. I mean, I think that's, you needed something else to do. You don't have enough on your plate. I just don't think you're busy enough. I mean, you work, you're involved in how many things, and I just don't think she's busy enough, Chris. I mean, we should probably find something else for her to do. It's
keep my eyes open for something new. Yeah,
for sure.
Hey, I've always said, if you want something done, find a busy person; they'll get it done for you. So
absolutely,
that's Haley right there. So hey, good luck. I want to hear how you do on your endeavor on being fair queen. I think that is it's really awesome, and I'm rooting for you. I don't know how I can vote, but
thank you.
You got my vote. You got my vote.
Thank you.
Well, that's a committee that does that, but I mean, hey, that's this young lady. I mean, I think she'll hold her own for sure. I mean, that's no doubt. I definitely wanted to give her a plug for that. Something else I want to give a plug. You said about where's food come from. During our fair we have a livestock sale. And I think that's most fairs do, and I think that's a great place for people to buy food also. Go out and support the 4-H FFA and buy food at the county fairs. Mm-hmm. If possible, if that's a place you can do, you can partner with people. If a whole pig or whole steer is too much, maybe go in with some other people and do it. They also sell chickens, rabbits at the county fairs for smaller animals. And I know sometimes that sounds taboo, buying a rabbit or whatever, but it's not. I mean, people have been eating rabbits for many years. I mean, heck, even goats. I mean, I've been eating goats since the 90s when they first became a market animal in this area. And, it's everyone says, how can you eat goats? They're so cute. Well, eat one time and you'll understand it. I mean, it's better than deer meat. And, I think it's pretty darn good. And, it's a great way to support your community, the kids. And plus, you're going to get some of the best meat you could ever have in your life by doing it that way. And it's raised by compassion, love, and it's just local grains usually. So you're supporting so much in the community that way.
It means a lot to the kids. I know, that one night or the fair week can spark one kid's interest into agriculture, and that just means so much. We're really helping everybody out. In my 4-H club, the Birds and Bunnies Club, there's a lot of younger kids. I'm the oldest and I'm 16, so there's a lot of younger kids, and throughout the year, as we kind of learn and educate them, and as we get closer to Fair Week and Sale Day especially, you see their spark of agriculture just kind of light up like mine did 5 years ago, and that's being president of that club. That's just something that means so much more to me than, winning or success or anything. I love to see it, but that one sale day to any livestock kids, I'm in a few different species, it means so much, so.
Oh, absolutely, And that's how I got started in the ag community. My parents bought our farm back in the 80s. I'm telling my age, I'm getting old here. And I walked into the fair, and Mr. Wolf was there, and I talked to him, and his son ended up becoming one of my really good friends. He's a veterinarian now. And my parents and I just asked him, how do you get involved in this? What do you do? And next year we ended up going to a 4-H meeting, and, well, many years later, I'm still trying to help kids, and work with the 4-H youth. Now on the Farm Bureau board, sit on a couple other ag boards here in the county, and try to give back every day I can to agriculture, because I think it's the most important thing you can do, and work with the youth as much as I can, because like I said, I think that's our future, and just it needs to happen, and we just got to keep promoting and just keep going for it, and just everything we can do for ag. And Chris, I just can't thank you and Mitchell enough, for what you guys do. Chris, you especially. I mean, I've gotten to know you personally, and I just can't thank you enough for everything you do daily.
Oh, thank you, Todd. And, to me, this is a team effort. I can't do this alone. You can't do it alone. We need to do it together. And we have great staff, like Mitchell and others on the Farm Bureau that we rely on while we're out doing our work on the farm. But, it really does require all of us, right? It requires even people like Haley, right?
Absolutely.
All ages, all voices, all perspectives, right? This is how we come together. This is what makes Farm Bureau really, really great, because we take a montage of ideas, smash them in, and come out with a policy that we can support and that drives agriculture to the future. And in the same time, the consumers win, right? Because it creates food security. And so we've got the USDA seal, right? It's world coveted. It's the gold seal of the world. We have the best, safest, nutritious supply of food in the world, and we don't talk about that enough. We need to have people think broader and bolder about how they can help agriculture. And so if there's people listening to this show and they're not Farm Bureau members, you should be a Farm Bureau member, because if you want to support the food system, help the farmers, help with our voice, help with everything we're doing, like we need that support. And I know your county, Todd, Fayette County, is just, you're growing membership, and you've got a lot of voices at play here, and I appreciate everything you guys do, and I just look forward to the years to come, because we're gonna get better at this. We're gonna have a stronger voice, and we're gonna accomplish a lot of great things.
Oh, absolutely, and that's where I just tell people, numbers matter. We got to just keep encouraging people to join. People say, well, what does Farm Bureau do for me? So much you just have no idea, but your numbers matter. Just we're constantly advocating. We're constantly going for things with the sportsmen. I mean, just making that connection with the sportsmen, that's working on things. The crop damage, the dog laws, just working on all this. I mean, it's just so many things. I mean, we couldn't even touch them all in an hour. That it would take days. I mean, look at Hershey when we go out there and work on policies. I mean, it's a couple days and hard pressed to get it all in there. I mean, and it's every day. You wake up in the morning, Chris, and go to bed at night. I'm sure it's Farm Bureau, the majority of your time. And you're trying to run a farm also in between that. And thank God you have a team. It takes a team for no matter what you do, everything you do. It takes teamwork. It takes a great group of people. And that's what we just all have to keep doing, is just keep working together, keep making it better. But we always need more. We need more people. We just need people just to keep getting on board and keep joining us and just keep getting stronger and bigger.
I agree with all that. So I just look forward to where we're heading, and the future looks really bright.
Oh, absolutely. Haley, what else you got to add here today? We've been doing the talking. You got to talk some more here.
We have a few minutes here, huh? I don't know.
Anything else you want to say about the fair, your projects, or anything?
I can talk a little bit about that. So, for the past 4 years, I've been raising broiler meat birds. I take them and I auction them at the fair, and then I'll sell them outright too. So this year I have a few left to get rid of like that.
So you're an entrepreneur on top of all
I
that.
am. I work at a local greenhouse, Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shops here in Smithfield. But I'm also, HB Poultry and Swine Co. I'm an entrepreneur as well. So I do that and I market those, and they seem to be a hit around here. So that's really great to just hear and see people enjoying those. But I'm in the Birds and Bunnies Club for Fayette County 4-H. I've been president of that for 3 years, secretary the year before. Newly this year, I'm in the County Swine Club. That's been great, and that's raising my market swine bean to take to the fair and auction. So come see us at the fair and at the livestock auction. She's been, like we talked about, quite the whirlwind, but a super great time. And I think seeing the production side and the show side by side for, well, he's gone now, but a few months every day has just been such an eye-opener, and such just the realization that ag is where I need to be, and seeing that. And I keep saying this, but I especially take to the production side. I always have, and I enjoy the show side. It's fun, but I think the reward of production, hearing the consumer, people with the breakfast and these veterans, that's the best local pork I've ever had, or that's just such a great thing. And it makes it all worth it. But I love it either way. Just seeing that has been the best experience. So.
That's great. Well, guys, we're getting ready to wrap up here. We're getting right to the end here. And thank you guys again so much. Chris, I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you're such a busy man, but you've taken your time here, and can't thank you enough. And just want to thank you, Haley. Thank you, Mitchell. And I think it's been a really good show. And once again, I want to give a shout out to the fair. It starts tomorrow, runs to next Saturday. It's 10 days. It's great times, great for the community. Please come out and support the local county fair. Chris, if you have anything else to say, we're getting ready to wrap up here.
Well, hey, I just appreciate the opportunity to be on the radio show, and just hopefully folks listening just realize that agriculture is a very complex business, right? And a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that the Farm Bureau is working on behalf of farmers. But ultimately, we do it because it's about the food you eat, and so support your local farmer, support the local Farm Bureau. We're in this as a group. We're in this as the group determined to make sure we have safe and affordable food for everyone. So it's an honor to be the president, and it's really a team effort. So thanks for doing this, and I look forward to seeing you guys sometime soon as I travel around the state.
Thank you, Chris. Well, we got to wrap up, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Todd.